At a point, the Sopadec become a commission that exists on paper, execute project on paper, mobilize contractor on paper, commission project on paper. I don't base in Abuja. Neither am I from Lagos that you will deceive. I'm from this area. And as part of my responsibility as the voice of the voiceless, I take a talk. But in the 8 years of Okowa, we did not see the hand of the government in our area. Talk less of even the Sopadec that has been helping to cushion some of those things. But these budgets are fraudulent, fictitious project budget that is there. All the House of Assemblies in Nigeria, not just Delta is not exceptional. All they are all pupil, including the National Assembly. They are about stamp.
Welcome to another episode of 10 Angles TV. 10 Angles TV is a podcast that interrogates the news for a more robust conversation and understanding. Follow our social media handles 10 Angles TV on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. In this episode, we are discussing the issues surrounding the 1.3 trillion naira oil derivation fund of Delta State involving the former governor, that is Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. It is public knowledge that the EFCC invited former Delta State governor in their investigation. I am Linus Chima, and my colleague, Ifeanyi, will join me in this discussion with Chief Comrade Sheriff Mulade, an arrowhead in the quest to unravel the 1.3 trillion naira saga. Chief Sheriff Mulade is an environmental activist in the Niger Delta region. He is presently the Executive Director of the Center for Peace and Environmental Justice. Mulade is also the National Chairman, Association of Oil and Gas Host Communities. Many people know him as a dogged fighter for environmental justice, and he consistently believes that the riverine areas should have a better deal from the wealth that flows under their feet. Chief Mulade, welcome to 10 Angles podcast that interrogates the news for a more robust conversation and understanding.
There seems to be another disconnect, this time between the masses in Delta State and successive administration. And you happen to be also at the heart of this disconnect. It is the question of the agitation for accountability in the use or deployment of 30% derivation that accrue to oil-producing communities. You happen to be leading one of the groups, Delta State Association of Host Communities, oil-producing host communities, to the extent that you have gone to the EFCC asking them to call to question former governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, to ascertain to what extent he was able to use the 30% derivation accruing to the state during his time as governor. Let's begin by asking how you came with those figures that you took to the EFCC that you are asking that the governor may have misappropriated.
Well, thank you very much. I think this is a very apt question. Apt in the sense that this has to do with the sensitivity of debtors. This 13% oil derivation is the money people fought for, money people agitate for. 13% did not just emerge from the moon. These same host communities, leadership of this host community fought for it, that we should be giving a certain percentage to develop our areas. And former President Olusegun Obasanjo deemed it necessary and carve out this percentage for the host communities, alongside establishing NDDC to also cushion the infrastructural deficit in these areas. So the then president saw that there is need for this, and truly this money were approved, and the state governors were managing these funds under the able leadership of His Excellency James Onanefebori, until we discovered that the money were not trickling down to the communities, and we continue on that phase of agitation. One is an agitation for the money to come. The second thing, when the money were approved, the money stuck at Asaba. It was not descending. Why? Another phase of protest. That was from 2008. I mean, they acceded office 2007. So from 2004, 2004, after their first tenure. So second tenure, we agitated for that protest. And Chief W. Okrika, the late Ogiame Atuashe II, they were all part of the trade. We were younger, far younger. And these agitations was followed to the latter. In that meeting, I could vividly recover in Abuja, in the Aso Rock, where Obasanjo said, the communities, this money were made for the community. Go and ensure that this money trickled down to the communities. A marching order was given. And that is when former Governor Ibori came back to Delta. And we're having that meeting quarterly. It's called the Niger Delta Socio-Economic Summit. That was the peak of the Niger Delta crisis. Go back and manage this money. And, you know, those communities were not coordinated, not organized. Despite the fact that we formed OSCOM under the leadership of Okrika, that is like the umbrella body. The government came back and sent an executive bill to the House. I'm just trying to adumbrate on the genesis of this form. So, the governor came, proposed an executive bill to the House of Assembly of Delta, and the House of Assembly considered it and passed it. But the body never set up the commission, not until towards his exit, and inaugurated the Okrika and handed over to Oduan. Dr. Emmanuel Oduan took up the mantle of Delta State, and in that first phase, it was in the public domain that 35 billion annually will be given to the Sopadik. But because of the Nigerian factor, the corruption, this money were not accurately disbursed to the commission, because the commission were a political commission. But I think still Oduan were doing reasonably well. So reasonable funds were going to the Sopadik. So then you can now see the ripple effects of development when Chief Okrika were there. So the Sopadik become like another strong arm of government in terms of host community development. So we begin to enjoy the Sopadik until Oduan exit office. When the immediate past governor, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, took over, of course, he ran with the same commission. But the first shocker he gave to Delta, unknown to many of us, was when he proposed a bill and sent to the State House of Assembly in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, that he want to modify the administrative structure of the Sopadik in line with NDDC model. He sent that bill.
Why was that a shocker? Because
it's a shocker. Don't worry, I will tell you why it's a shocker. Then, just after less than 2 years, he sent another bill. He was doing this for his first tenure. But he did all this. The underlying purpose of doing it is to include his community.
Okay.
The Anioma houses as part of host communities in Delta, Tesopadek. That is why I call it a shocker, unknown to many. So people don't know where he was coming from. So while he was doing all those amendments and doing the executive bill and all of them, he was trying to include his people into the process. Now, even if you go to Asaba, the only area you find oil is Kwale, Ndokwa houses. Now, when Pan-Ocean was carrying out their project, I was also part of, because then I was the chairman of Okowa. So I'm involved. Pan-Ocean pipeline run through from there to my own, from Oben to down to Baramatu to Makaraba, Kokodagbana, like that. So I was involved to a deep extent. Pan-Ocean, the oil is in Ndokwa, but what it did systematically was to move the administrative block structure of Pan-Ocean to Abo. Abo, that is village. What is that name of his immediate village? Or those areas. So he cited using government influence to cite the company office in this area, while the oil is on this side. So automatically, you can say their area is also hosting oil facility.
Okay, while you do a background, let me just put you to a simple thing. You seem to be talking as if Governor Okowa was running as a sole administrator. He sent a bill to the State Assembly, and there was a buy-in. So was it like him imposing? You had people from oil producing communities
who were in the House of
and
Assembly at that time.
the majority passed that bill for the governor to sign. So is Okowa to blame alone?
No, yes, it's not Okowa to be blamed alone. That is why I call it a shocker. One, in government, House of Assembly is like a pulpit. All the House of Assemblies in Nigeria, not just Delta is not exceptional. All they are all pulpit, including the National Assembly. They are overstand. So, and they will not agree, but that is how they are. Now, the governor did that and succeed by including his community. I'm not even against that. I'm not bothered about that. Whether they include him or not, I'm not bothered. Of course, when you are in position, you can use your office to influence some things to your area. Exactly. So, of course, he did that smartly. So even if I'm there, I may do what he has done.
All right. So
okay, that is. So, but I'm just trying to narrate the genesis.
Yes.
Now, that is one aspect. Two, this money that is meant to develop us as the host communities is 13%, but 50% according to Delta State law. 50% of the 13% is to be administered by the Delta State Oil Producing Area Development Commission, the SOPADEC, on behalf of the host communities. That means that as host community, they cannot disburse this money to us, Andy. So there must be a commission to administer 50% to us. That means there is also another 50% for the entire state. Whether you are from oil producing or not, you are entitled to it. For even development. So for us, we have been giving 50% to cushion the challenges confronted by core host communities. Now, out of a point, the SOPADEC become a commission that exists on paper, execute project on paper, mobilize contractor on paper, commission project on paper. We can only see these activities on paid advert, especially on the SOPADEC half hour and all of them on national TVs. Sometimes we begin to wonder, where are these projects? And another time you begin to see a repeated advert consistently with the same picture. I don't base in Abuja, neither am I from Lagos that you will deceive. I'm from this area, and as part of my responsibility as the voice of the voiceless, I take a talk.
Okay, sorry, before you continue, are you saying that during Udona's administration, you could at least see some projects on ground.
Tangible project on ground. We went, we execute, we saw, we commended the government. You know, then we were also challenging Okowa, Oduan, that if the Sopadek is doing this in this area, the state government has 50% of it, including FEC and other sources of funds.
They should do more.
We expect more from even the state. Then we're using the Sopadek to compare the state, compel the state to do more. So the state government, if you remember, Oduan was only coming to commission some of the Desopadek projects. Maybe the state government representative and others coming to commission. But in the 8 years of Okowa, we did not see the hand of the government in our area. Talk less of even Desopadek that has been helping to cushion some of those things. So that gives us some concern. And like as I said, we carry out the investigation across some of the communities. To our greatest surprise, there was no even budget for the Sopadek.
They have an office, they have an executive chairman, they have board members.
No budget for those years. Sometime.
You are talking of what years now?
Let me be specific to say 2017, 18, 19, 2021, 22.
But the state assembly had budget for the commission that
they will pass budget for the commission, but these budgets are fraudulent, fictitious project budget that is there. I have some of them, I've gotten all of them. That is what I submit to EFCC. I don't just go to EFCC, I went with facts.
So would it be right to say that it will not be that there were no budget, but that the budgets were fictitious, but they were budget in the true sense of the word?
When you said there is a fictitious budget, it's not a budget.
But who determines a fictitious budget? If the budget passes through the house, and the budget is passed, the governor signs it as a budget. Who determines whether it is fictitious or not?
Those two arms will go to clarify it. Whether, we are in this place. Assuming this is a community. In the budget, you now stated that this place has a bridge. Because the budget is a proposal.
Yes. You saw, let's guide ourselves a little. You have seen these so-called fictitious budgets and how they were planned to apply to certain communities. Can you single out one or two communities where budget was approved and no project was done?
Well, I don't have the document here, so I may not be able to pinpoint so that I don't miss or just allege. But what I'm trying to say is that we have gotten some of those proposed budgets that were not implemented, funds were not even released. And if you will recall, I know it was also in the public domain, when some set of persons also push until the former governor.
We have had many former governors.
Okowa invited the OSCOM, the House of Assembly members, and the executive, and tried to say, okay, let's settle out of court, let's resolve the issues. Where the governor also minuted with his own green pen that go and implement these projects.
Which projects?
On the budget.
So the issue really was the implementation. There was a budget.
Implementation.
It is the implementation.
It is the budget you use to manipulate the fund now. That is how it is. So now I'm just trying to narrate a story. Now, at the end of the day, out of the amount approved, they give 1 billion naira project to the House of Assembly members. Then that's okay, 1 billion go to host community for the host community to distribute among themselves. Then that 1 billion the Ijaw, the Istoko, the Shekiris, the Robo, the Indokwas has to distribute it among themselves in line with the production percentage.
So that's 2 billion.
2 billion. Now, this amount, the one for the executive went because they allocate project to themselves, they allocate project to House of Assembly member. Those 2 projects were implemented for themselves. But the one for those communities, till today, some of those contractors are still struggling when they have awarded the contract till today. Now let's leave that. Now when you go straight to the budget, I know you asked the question, how do we get those documents?
Yes. How do you get the documents?
Now,
How do you get
there is the Freedom
of Information
Act. It's very open. The Sopadec is our commission, is our family house. We did our findings with the commission. We approached some of the executive members, the former board. Why is it that you people are not executing, carrying out any project or implementing any project within our communities? The question and the answer is there is no fund. There is no fund. How? There is increase in production. There is increase in allocation. And look at even the budget that has been approved. Why do you say no fund? No fund. The little fund that is coming just to take care of overhead costs. No cost, no fund. No fund, how? Of course, we are friends to some of those in the executive of the state. We also call some of them. This is what we are observing. Oh, they are lying. Fund has been given to the Sopadec. We'll go back with the Sopadec. This is what so person who is in charge.
So, when they play table tennis.
They play us table tennis. Okay. If it's okay. Now, I reverse back to the government.
Yes.
How much have you given the Sopadec so that we can hold them accountable and hold them responsible? We have been giving them what is due to the commission. If you say what is due to the commission, this is what is coming and this is what we have calculated. Do you mean that you have limited this? Go and find out. We have given them. We ask them, they will say, no, we have not received such amount of money. We are only receiving overhead cost. Even if the fund comes, we reverse it back for political reasons. Okay, how much have you received from the federal? The state too is like this. They are not coming out clear. Okay. We apply to the Accountant General of the Federation.
You went to Abuja, you got, most probably through the Freedom of Information Act, you were able to get the amount of money that had been disbursed to Delta State under the 13% derivation formula. So what were your findings? What did they present to you?
Well, first, the Accountant General Office is a public office, and in line with the Freedom of Information Act policy, we applied for 13% oil derivation to the Niger Delta. That was my first application.
So the entire Niger Delta.
Entire region, for us to know how much are coming to the region. And that was some amount, if it is judiciously used for the Niger Delta will be like Amsterdam. It will be like Dubai. And this is not about Delta. I'm talking about Niger Delta. Now, but my focus is on Delta. Yes, I've seen what the Niger Delta has received. From there, I can also extract data, but we applied with the Attorney General Office that we need a specific budget or funds that are come to data from 2015 to 2023. but then they give us till 2022 December. So when we tabulate it together, we have that 1.1 trillion
That came to Delta State.
Trillion, I guess.
1.1 trillion. Okay. Some fraction. Now, January, February, March, April, May, before he exit office, when those ones were added, he now landed it at that 1.3 trillion. My request was also from 2007. That is why my civil case include Okowa, Odwan.
Yes.
My civil case in the court includes Odwan. Now, from that 2007 to 2022, you will see the amount. Under Odwan period, for the 8 years, is about 700 something billion. About 700 something billion.
During
Odwan 8 years, about 700 something billion.
But that is the entire 13%.
That is the entire 13% for
So
Odwan.
it is supposed to be 50% to
50%
oil
to
producing
the
super.
So if that goes, then you will see how much will come to the super.
That should be about that 350 billion.
Now, under Okowa, 2015 to 2022 to the extra month that made that 1.3 trillion. The SOPADE, this 13% derivation 1.3 trillion is for Delta State.
Yes.
And in Delta State, like as I said earlier, we have the law establishing the SOPADE that 50% of these amounts will be administered or shall be administered to the host community through the SOPADE. So from that amount, the host communities is entitled to 650 billion, approximately 650 billion to the host communities. While other 650 billion is in the coffer of the states to join in development of the entire state for even distribution,
Including the
including
non-oil
producing communities and local government. So that 50% is there. Now, my interest and our interest is the 50% that is going to the SOPADE. And like as I said, why did we pick up this? Because the SOPADE has become a moribund commission. It's a commission that is used to compensate political followers. All the people appointed into the commission are politically motivated appointments. When we started the SOPADE, if the board member that will represent the Shekiri nation, the government will notify the Olu of Warri to nominate a representative. Then they will tell the Olu nominate 3 persons while the state will choose 1. When it comes to the Ijaw nominate 3 persons while the government will choose 1 board member. Or if you have the chairman and a board member, they will say, okay, a chairman is going to the Shekiri, nominate 3 persons for board and nominate 3 persons for member, which we refer to as commissioner. When we started the SOPADE, this is how the notification was coming. So the traditional rulers, if it's the case of the Shekiris, they have one traditional ruler and the leadership will meet. In the case of the Ijaw, because of the multiple kingdoms, the Ijaw's traditional rulers from the oil producing areas will meet with the leaders, political leaders will meet and nominate the people. Then the government will look at the capacity, the competence, the educational.
So one of your annoyances now is that this process of
Has
nomination
been aborted.
has been aborted.
Has been aborted.
So it's not so much as the money that is purportedly missing.
But even when you say that, it doesn't detract from the fact that they were all political appointments.
Yes.
Because those traditional authorities didn't have the final say.
Yes.
So when you use the word that under Okowa, it was political.
No, see, you can differentiate it clearly. One, when you tell the people, nominate 3 persons, the communities will go and select. I was part of some persons who selected some persons. So we know that you are going to represent us.
Okay.
We nominate you. Even among 3 of you that we send, if government take anyone, we know we nominated you. So you owe allegiance to the communities and the government. But when the government decide to appoint you, like if today the governor can appoint anybody as commissioner, is community nominating? Did we select him? No. So we don't hold grip on it. And when you talk to any of these commissioners, they will tell you, did you know I was appointed? Did you support me? Then we're moving with some people. We will carry some people to Asaba to present that this is the person we want. So then the communities were giving sense of belonging. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay. The communities were giving sense of belonging. Now is your own slot to nominate the people you want. And in the case of like Ijo, we will pick somebody from Igbema, we will pick somebody from Baramatu, maybe pick somebody from Ogujo. Then if they pick from Ogujo today, the next election, Ogujo will not be there again. We will pick from the same Ogula, pick from Igbema, maybe pick from Ogula. If you pick Ogula person, you will not. You see the way it's rotating. Follow the Ijo own, you see that it's rotating. And so even today when the government does not consult and decide to select people, they still pick people from within this area. They know you have produced.
I understand you.
So what I'm trying to say is that in the political representation, you give sense of belonging. And when we started this movement, that sense of belonging we were given to community. So community felt they own the project, they own the process to a large extent. Even if the governor was going to put the seal that based on your people recommendation, we have selected you. It's okay.
Okay.
That is it. Now,
so let's come to the money.
Now, in this issue of the form, we look at it that 1.3 trillion, 650 supposed to go to these communities.
Is that not what you should be contesting? The 650.
That is what we are contesting.
So why is it 1.3?
The 1.3 belongs to Delta State. It's our state money, it's our money. We want to know, where is this money? 50% is for host community. Host community, we are asking for accountability of the 50%. The other 50%, we are also part of it now. We are also entitled to it. The whole Delta is entitled to it. So where is even the other 50%? How did you manage it? Now, in government, from this 13% derivation, we discover 3 things: misappropriation, misapplication. Do you understand these 3 English?
Misappropriation,
misappropriation, and misapplication.
Okay.
Now, these are funds meant for us.
But they are not projects on ground.
These are funds meant for us. You are to administer this money for us. This is what I want. Without any consultation, any engagement, you use the money the way you want. And when we confront you, you say, I'll use it to buy share. So where is the share? We can't even find the share. So that is first, mismanagement. Second is what? Misappropriation. Third is what? Misapplication. It's not what the people want. It's not what we request for. It's not what the host communities want. Now, finally, we can't even see the share. So where is the share now? You say use it to buy share. Where is even the share?
Which was why I started with the question of you actually justifying to what extent the money are misappropriated or misapplied, because in terms of fixing the figures. At the range you have given us the idea 1.7, you split that into two, about 650 to the host community, 650 to the other one. But I'm also curious, still interested in the clear figure, because outside physical project or capital project, the Superdeck as an agency had a very bloated staff strength, and they were paying salaries too. Are you not saying that even the salaries they were paying, to the extent of the salary they were paying, that they were also fraudulent in it? Because some money would have gone into salaries and wages too.
Yes.
So how much is the actual figure you consider that was misappropriated?
That's your question. You're supposed to ask the Superdeck to give you how much they have used for overhead costs, which is for salary and all, and how much they have used for current and concurrent within the.
You were the investigator. I thought you would have gone into that.
We know. Now, the Superdeck is one of the most fraudulent commissions in terms of overstaffing. I was also part of a screening committee to screen a lot of good staff out of the commission under the Azure ethnic employment quota, when we discovered that a lot of people were listed under that agency under the Azure quota, and the people cannot be found. The people are not even in existence. So there are a lot of ghost workers in the commission.
And they still there now.
And as media house, if you carry out an independent and thorough investigation, you will recover that the Superdeck have been carrying out screening upon screen upon screen. Why are they doing that? Because of those fraud. It's because of those fraud. I'm part of.
So could it be that part of the money you are looking for now was used to pay?
Those are the misappropriation and the misapplication.
But that also fall under Dr. Okowa's purview.
It is under Okowa's purview because those staffing were also directed from. And you know that the Superdeck under Okowa, that is another kind of government that they introduced. Under Okowa, we experience what we call central budget from the 13% derivation.
Explain to us what that means.
Now, this central budget, government is too corrupt. This central budget, as they call it in Delta State, and it's still running today. So those in government today should please be careful. Those in government today should be careful and should be guided. Impunity and immunity is just for 8 years. And if not for the corrupt society we have, I don't think anybody wants to use rascality to display in government. Today, what we experience in our political arena is display of rascality, impunity. So they created central budget where if this 1.3 trillion, for example, that came, they will say, okay, keep 300 billion for central budget. I know that keep about 40% of it for central budget. Then they will not disburse the other one to the ethnic groups and for salaries and all. Then from that central budget is not accessible by anybody except the government. Who give directive from that central budget? He tell the commissioner for work, hey, go and do social projects in my village. Take from central budget. So those central budget funding does not go through FEC, or what do they call their own state ESCO?
ESCO, yes.
Does not go through state ESCO, but it's like a reserve pool where the governor can just dig it in and use. It doesn't account for it. He kept it as a security vote, but in data they call it central budget. So they keep it there for only the governor to spend from that cost, and that is money that is general money. But they will just remove that percentage as a form of security vote, keep it in a pool, and to say it's a central budget. So they pick from there. And from that central budget, under Okowa, himself and Barrister Kingsley Otuabo, during that period, towards the exit of their administration, the last central budget projects also created a lot of chaos because some of us, we challenged it, we confronted it. What do you mean by central budget? I know government has been practicing it for a couple of years before we even get hold of it. A lot of people are also aware that there is a fraudulent central budget. So we confronted it, and at the end of it, the executive directors in the SOPADEC were told to go and bring a project that will be funded by the central budget. So there will be a general budget, then there will be a central budget. So from that central budget, it is only who the governor wants to say, okay, you are one of the executive director from Insure Houses. For this, okay, you people go and bring one project from your side. So let me throw one project for our central budget. So those projects are like compensation project to the executive director. Only executive director, you can put me anywhere. Only executive directors were given. And I don't want to mention them. I know the ones who took the one there. And some of the executive projects, executive director now clash with any senior political office holder in their ethnic group. Go say, I'm the senior political office holder, so I'm supposed to be the one to do it, not you. Those also happen.
So from your summation, it is a web of entanglement. We are not going to lose sight of how much you have realized the objective for which you came up with this agitation. Through your resolve to take court action and your investigation and petition to the EFCC, how much are you realizing the objective of really seeking accountability against the fact that the key target of your petition has also come out clearly to say, my hands are clean, the money were well spent, and the EFCC is not seen to have done anything beyond inviting the governor to question, and the governor had came out of that and he's saying my hands are clean. So to what extent are you realizing the objective of actually getting the accountability you want?
Well, first, we have been able to achieve a reasonable chunk of our position. One, by drawing the attention of debtors to know the amount that come into the state. And beyond even the EFCC, as debtors, you can now evaluate the project and the development of the state to know truly if such amount comes, can they be quantified with the project or with the activities on ground? That is first for data. So that is a great achievement for us. If not that we took this issue up, you will not be aware that 1.3 trillion were realized or received by the government of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. When myself and my team took this issue up, I could vividly recall when the current Commissioner for Work and Information, then Commissioner for Information, challenge us, call us all sorts of names, that we are sponsored, we are anti-government, we are anti-that, we are anti-that.
You're talking about Charles Aniago.
Charles Aniago. And by the time EFCC confirmed the figure, till today, I challenge the Delta State government. They have not been able to tell EFCC that that figure is wrong. Have you heard it anyway?
No, but the question will not really be that the figure is wrong. The question is,
no.
To what extent, to what amount do you think has been misappropriated? I can say, for instance, that you come from Warri Southwest, right? Warri Southwest, the headquarters is Lugbijo. I think the palace of the what is the paramount ruler's name? The palace of the paramount ruler was built by the Sopade, if I'm not mistaken.
When?
The palace of the paramount ruler. Was it not under Governor Okowa that palace was built?
Well, I don't know of that one. So What I'm trying to say is this: our achievement. I was just trying to tell you what we have done.
Yes,
What we did has exposed debtors to know the income of the state.
Yes.
We don't expose the state because we are fighting the state. We expose it as citizens to be aware that this is what we have. Like as I was saying, you now use it to quantify what is on ground. Is it truly reflecting the development we desire if we have such amount? That is one. Secondly, I said when we pick up these issues and make reference to this figure, the state government under the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Charles Aniabu, counter us, challenge us that the figures that we are quoting are prevalent, fictitious, and all sorts, and give us all sorts of names, blackmail us to the government and to the people. EFCC, as a senior investigative officers, carried out a thorough investigation. But when you petition, EFCC don't deal with your petition. There are 1,000,001 petitions every day to EFCC. They don't answer. They don't bother. Until when they carry out their own independent investigation and discover that there are some element of truth on your petition, that is the only way you'll be invited. They are too busy to invite anybody. If you have visited EFCC, even in Port Harcourt or Lagos or Abuja, you will know that they are too busy. So until they see element of truth in our petition, we were invited to the zonal office, and we got there. We presented our papers. Of course, they already have them before because we submitted them. They want attestation to it. We did all that, and they confirmed, and their findings further reviewed in-depth disbursement of this fund. That produced that misappropriation and misapplication of the funds. Even if the government said, oh, my hands are clean, this is the money, yes, truly the money came, but this is that I spend it. That is why we said, okay, the money came, you have admitted that the money came, my hands are clean, I use them for project. Which project did you use them for? Those projects that you use the accountant general of the government house in Asaba, those funds, those community funds for the, are they meant for the government house in Asaba? Why did they invite that? So that is the misapplication and misappropriation. Fund that is meant for me, you carry it to go and feed somebody else. So what I'm trying to say is that the government could not debunk the figure with EFCC. During my time, they tried to give me all the bad names to say, oh, you don't know what you're saying, you are just trying to instigate people against the state. We are not. That is what I'm saying, that the government today have not debunked the figure. Now when you talk about the amount that comes to the Sopadek that we consign me, my consign is 1.3 trillion, because this money is meant for debtor states. I'm a debtor.
Well, why are you not limiting yourself to what should accrue to?
No, we cannot.
The Sopadek.
We cannot. I cannot. Why? My position of agitation is the 50% to the Sopadek.
Yes.
The 50%.
Why don't you stop there?
No, we cannot.
That money was used. Why
that is phase one. Phase one, when the government should agree, yes, truly we have received this money and have given the Sopadek the 650 billion. Then we will come back to the Sopadek. Okay, the government said you receive 650 billion. Yeah, now tell us what you use the money for. It's the government that is dragging themselves in.
So from the government and the body language of the target of investigation, Ifeanyi Okowa, for instance, they are not ready to concede that there was misappropriation or misapplication. Now, EFCC has the onus after investigating to go for prosecution. That is not happening. So going forward, what are your expectations?
Yeah, just before you answer that question, could it be true that you are angered by certain things that have happened before? For instance, you were supposed to get the ticket for the House of Assembly. It appears you were outsmarted And could that be one reason why you are so bent on ensuring that these things come to light?
Wallahi, no. Far from the truth. Far from that. I'm a veteran. If today I nurse the intention to run for an elected position, and if I'm not selected by my people, it's not Okowa that will select me. I'm supposed to be selected or voted for by my people. And if my people feel that at that period they have somebody in mind to go and represent us, why? I give him all the support. So it's far from it. As an activist, as someone who advocates for transparency and accountability and justice, it is my duty to ensure that the government do the needful by developing all part of Delta State with a specific amount that has been allocated in host communities, which is my primary constituency. So my concern is my primary constituency of the 650 billion.
Yes.
Then my second concern is the other 650 billion for the entire Delta and other funds accruing to the Delta State. So it's just in this part of the world that we are not concerned, we are not bothered about how government runs. If not, we are also supposed to be concerned of how our state government or the federal government is managing our resources.
Yes, it takes somebody to take the
bull by the horn.
Yes,
and that is what we have done.
Which you are doing very well. But I'm going to take you back as we are about wrapping up. You did that administration or advocacy for objective. Like I said before, if you go to FCC, you probably want monies misappropriated recovered. In the event that the EFCC is not prosecuting, that money will not be recovered. So going forward, what next are you going to do in the event that EFCC comes up with a report or a public statement that we have investigated and the allegations, as we see our findings, they are not enough to take this man to court? How much further will you take it from there?
Well, there is also a common saying that who dictate the tune dictate the piper. Today in Nigeria, government dictate the tune for legislation, for judiciary, and these are three separate arms of government, but the executive has swallowed it. And that is why when we even challenge the former government as a civil case in the judiciary, the government used its position to influence the then judge of the case to dismiss the case. And our findings also show that the judge was promoted to be a judge under the same government we are fighting. So do you think you will get the judgment? No. And we are already in appeal. And until we get to Supreme, we must get justice for it. So for EFCC is an agency that is shadowed with the responsibility to end corruption. Misappropriation is corruption, misapplication is corruption, mismanagement is corruption. So EFCC will not throw it out. They will go to investigate. Now, I find it funny that in Delta, are we cause? Certainly no, we are not. When former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Dariye, was found corrupt and huge amount of money were seized, properties were sold, and the money were returned to where? Plateau State. Abi?
Yes.
When former governor of Bayelsa, His Excellency Alame Seya, were found guilty, properties sold, recovered, the money were done were returned to Bayelsa State to develop Bayelsa State. But when the money of Delta were recovered, the money were allocated to federal projects. Why?
Because Delta said it's not their money.
So that is why corruption. Your own money, our own money, we're giving out freely. That is not our money. Because trying to aid your predecessor of corruption.
Yes, and I bet.
Trying to aid him of corruption. That is how we lost our money to the federal government. The federal government follow this money to the latter and recover it. Since it's not your money, can you come and claim it? No.
If this 650 billion naira had gone the way it should go, how would the oil producing areas in Delta State be like?
You know, you can, if 650 billion, if it's injected prudently, judiciously, devoid of corruption, you will see significant development impact. Either in non-infrastructure and infrastructure, you can able to see and you can size it to say, Delta riverine communities or Delta oil producing communities are growing. But nothing of such. And even in the 1.3 trillion, we are just talking of just 13% derivation. We are not talking of oil allocation, the FEC allocation. We are not talking of several other loans that is coming to the state. We are not talking of 13%. So if this money is judiciously used for even Delta states, today, we from the oil producing communities, we are the most deprived, most neglected, most rejected people in Delta states, especially the Jaw and the Shekiris. None of our communities in the riverine area is connected to the interland by road. And this is the area that bears or lay the golden eggs to feed the nation. We are all migrated to the city. During census, during election, you can't find us in the village. We have all changed our voting centers to the urban. Because today, when there is election, you want me to carry my children, my family. Some are in school, some are in Lagos, some are here. Even if they are in Warrior, how many would I carry? I'm almost to shatter one speed boat. It's 350,000 for election that I'm not contesting for. That even the man I'm voting for, I don't even know is stock tomorrow. So this complete deprivatization have depleted the job votes. Today, if you go to our polling unit, we cannot even provide up to 200,000 votes. Even 50,000 votes, 10,000 votes we can't provide you because of we have been deprived from it.
Okay, you don invest. This thing na long tori, na long work. Na wahala be like go slow be this one. Linus,
There are some people who have this belief that, well, you see, the former governor and the present administration in the state chose to run to APC so as to cover this track. Although the former governor have come out to say, well, there's nothing like that. But we'd like to have your view about this. You think that it could be a reason why the former governor ran to?
Well, it was clear. It was clear that when EFCC was close to the governor, before his even invitation, there was a lot of suggestions that in order to drop all this, you have to convince the government, because the government is in your palm. If you can allow Delta to join APC, the only thing we can do for you is to drop the case or your allegations around you. We heard of it, but it's not something.
You couldn't confirm it.
We heard of it and we confirm it, but it is not something we need to bring to the public or the news. We felt he's a man of integrity, somebody who ran as a running mate to a presidential candidate, a vice presidential candidate under the great party PDP, and who was a sitting governor, who was a former senator who has been under the platform of PDP
from the very beginning.
From the very beginning, from a councillor to local government chairman to commissioner to SSG to senator back to governor to vice presidential candidate. We felt if he's a man of integrity, he will stand tall. And there is also a slogan in APC that said, if you join us, your sins are forgiven. By the former governor of Edo State, the Senator Adams Oshomole. So, with all those stories around, we are waiting and we're believing that one day, if he's a man without integrity, he will go. But if he's a man with integrity, he will stay. And he has shown to Deltas, he has shown to Nigeria that he lack integrity, he lack that courage.
But he's not here to defend that.
Yeah, I know.
He was here to defend
I know, but he lack.
He can also interrogate that.
He lack those qualities. That is why he moved.
That's your own opinion.
That is the general opinion now. So he has joined the APC. So that one, I did not join the APC alone. I brought the state. So if he's going alone, he will still have some condition. But now that he has brought the state, that the state is now under APC control, so that the state can now be part of those that will fund the APC 2027 bid, as he used the entire state to fund his vice presidential ambition with Atiku. So that is the intention. But this is different from EFCC. The role of EFCC is clear. EFCC is not APC. EFCC is not federal government. EFCC is an independent body, despite the fact that there will be political interference in their day-to-day running. We are watching. Nigerians are watching. Like according to my press statement, Nigerians and the world is watching EFCC. While they take one step, people are also taking steps to follow them. So we want to see the reasons, the justification to say we can't find evidence beyond reasonable doubt to drop it.
Okay.
But we are also aware that discussions are going on, and we have told them that, well, discussions can be on. Okowa, I'm not an enemy to Okowa. He's my brother in Delta State. We are all Deltas. We are to grow Delta. But we want to grow Delta through the development of the state. I have no other state to call my own. It's Delta. So what we are fighting for is the development. So nobody is pushing Okowa, go and kill it. No, we don't want to say kill Okowa. But what we are saying that for the fund that has been misappropriated, misapplied, and mismanaged, please return them. Return them so that they can be used for the state. If you kept them in a bank, bring them out.
All right. So that is where this episode of 10 Angles will come to an end. You have been hearing from Comrade Sheriff Mulade, and he has made quite salient points, particularly with how Delta State funds the oil derivation fund for Delta State was utilized under the administration of His Excellency Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. Another episode of the program comes your way. But don't forget our Facebook, our YouTube, our TikTok and Instagram handles are there. Thank you so much, Comrade Mulade, for coming on the program.
Thank you and God bless you.